it'll effectively be 220 Republicans to 215 Democrats. So Democrats have to win three seats to get the majority. More to the point immediately, Republicans can only lose a seat or two on any given vote.
Welcome to the Debriefs, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering this week and where the story's going next. I'm Jim Antle, and I'm joined today by magazine managing editor David Mark. David, we've seen a little bit of turnover in this Congress. We're going to have a new Congress sworn in January. What is some of the dynamics, particularly in the House, looking like?
Yeah, we're seeing some of the turnover that happens at the end of every congressional session. Just real quick, on the Senate side, there are 12 new senators total. So on the House, depending how you do the math, it's like 14 or 15%. Some left early, others resigned. There are some members that died. So whatever it comes down to, there's several dozen members who are now departing. Some of them are veteran lawmakers like Congresswoman Kay Granger of Texas, Republican, former chairwoman of the House Appropriations Committee. That is a major position in Congress. It decides how federal money is spent. A bunch of new members, though, are relative newcomers. There were 11 who lost in the general election. Several of them just were elected in 2022. And then there were 4 more who lost their primaries. And all 4 of them were only elected in 2020. So they were only around for 4 years. Not even long enough to be able to collect a federal pension from their time in Congress.
So California has become a really big sort of kingmaker in the House. It's really become a state, even though it's a deep blue state overall, that has kind of decided the majority in the last couple of elections, no?
Yeah, this is one of those states where Democrats really were having trouble, surprisingly, because it is known as being so blue. That California and New York as well, you might say it's kind of like a sports team that loses a bunch of home games but can win on the road. Finally, in this past election cycle, Democrats did pick up a couple of California seats. They held on to one in coastal Orange County, traditionally a Republican, now very much a swing area. And they actually beat 3 sitting Republican members of Congress, which is no easy feat. One in Orange County, one in northern Los Angeles County, and one a couple hours north up in the agricultural Central Valley. So there's some turnover there. It's kind of ironic, though, because California as a whole swung to the right this past election with Donald Trump still losing big, but by a closer margin than he did the past 2 times, really doing better than any Republican candidate has in several election cycles.
And certainly a factor in why he won the popular vote this time around.
Yeah, absolutely. And California also saw voters in Los Angeles throw out their kind of far left district attorney. That happened in San Francisco a couple of years ago. The sitting mayor in San Francisco was defeated over issues like crime and homelessness. So it's really kind of a mixed bag in some of these places.
Yeah, speaking of mixed bag, even though Republicans did pretty well overall in the election, this House majority is really, really narrow, and it's going to get depleted even further by the incoming Trump administration.
Yes, depending how you count it, this is the closest House majority in about a century, maybe even more so since like the Herbert Hoover administration, because that was a little bit under a century. But it'll effectively be 220 Republicans to 215 Democrats. So Democrats have to win three seats to get the majority. More to the point immediately, Republicans can only lose a seat or two on any given vote, especially after a couple of members, as you allude to, leave to join the Trump administration. Though there's a caveat to those seats will get filled. They're usually pretty reddish, if not dark red districts. And Democrats have a couple other issues on their own side, not to be morbid about it, but a couple of the older members are not in the greatest health and have missed votes. There's another member, a younger woman, Congresswoman Brittany Pedersen from Colorado, who is about to have a baby. That's one of the more positive ways to look at it. But there's no maternity policy in Congress, so she might be out for a little while. So I suspect that will balance each other out for the first few months.
Just not a whole lot of wiggle room for Speaker Johnson.
No, but there's an important point there that it's really a matter of attendance. It's like going to school, and if Democrats can get all their members there, they have the potential to make life difficult for Republicans. And this actually showed up just recently in the vote the Democrats were pushing to release the ethics report on former Congressman Matt Gaetz. They ended up losing just by a vote or two. There were 15 Republican lawmakers who were absent. There were 16 Democrats. So this is in the old Congress that's leaving. But if Democrats had gotten all their members there, they probably could have won that vote.
Attendance is a big part of the game.
Yeah, your teacher and school principal will always tell you
Yeah,
that.
you got to show up.
Yeah.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
You can read David and the rest of our magazine team's coverage at washingtonexaminer.com.